So we're going to talk about some upgrades.
All right.
We're not going to go to jail for. Oh, lost
All right.
it. And this is an article about an article. So my apologies, but the United States is adding the next generation air dominance tech on the Raptors as they try to keep its stealth fighters ahead. They're testing new upgraded sensor systems on the F-22 aimed to extend the service life of the Raptors, which were originally slated to be replaced by the NGAD. Some of those things actually include like an IRST infrared search and track pods, which is awesome. It's an awesome capability, but they're taking a lot of tech. They're not going to obviously talk about it. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is we've seen the articles in the news about the Raptor. You know, everybody is upset because, right, you get this aircraft, it gets a couple balloon kills, and then they don't make any more, and then we're going to retire them. And people think, well, we didn't get our money's worth. And then they were talking about retiring them at the end of this decade, and now it's like moving farther out. Can you talk to just the idea that, you know, to kind of make people feel better about their hard-earned tax dollars?
Absolutely. So, you know, it was actually one of the Brits that I flew with that I thought he put it poignantly. Duzza, if you're out there, this is your quote. But he said that, you know, if the Raptor never sees actual air-to-air combat where, you know, hair, teeth, and eyeballs are extinguished, then if because the Raptor's strategic effect kept it that way, in that other countries didn't want to go toe-to-toe with us because of the advantage the Raptor gives us, then those tax dollars went way further than you can imagine.
Yeah.
And so the similar way of how if our nuclear triad never gets used, it's not a waste. It's actually what it was intended for. And so, you know, the Raptor arguably has become a strategic asset in that it's given us that advantage in the 5th gen realm and in the stealth capability realm. Yes, F-35 is the new hotness, and now Raptor is like legacy 5th gen. But I mean, when it comes to air dominance, I'd strap on a Raptor any day and take on what else is out there.
Ammo, I guess maybe you could comment on this as well. I mean, Mover touched on it a little bit. The Raptor, at least in the U.S. inventory, is a relatively young airplane, in my opinion. So you take a look. So I flew all models of the Hornet, right? And the low lot A model, I'd fly that thing one day, then I'd fly a brand new AISA mids, everything helmet, Super Hornet, and like very similar airplanes, F-18, drastically different capabilities. And like you take a look at the Eagle, right? Early 70s, and now they got the EX coming offline. I guess where I'm going with this is, do you think, I mean, there has to be a tremendous amount of growth left in the Raptor, because it's the next generation from those airplanes I just talked about. I mean, there's capabilities that in the Raptor that they probably don't even know are possible with technologies that they're still developing. You know what I'm saying? So like, would it be wrong to say, like, I just think it's crazy that there's talk of retiring it when 4th gen airplanes are still being developed and built today. That's crazy to me. I mean,
So a few thoughts that come to my mind there. The Raptor is a very complex aircraft, hardware and software wise. We learned a lot of lessons from it that got incorporated into the F-35 as far as maintainability, upgradability. And so the fact that, you know, the Raptor, sadly, its demise was short-sighted thinking a decade ago. We're thinking, well, we're only fighting counterinsurgencies. We're not going to be in a great power competition scenario anymore. So why do we pay so much money for this Cold War relic? So cancel the Raptor production. But also, we never sold it. We never exported the Raptor internationally. So those two factors, you know, in that they're so expensive, you know, per unit cost, and we're not exporting them. Mentality that we're not in the Cold War anymore. It doomed the Raptors production. And so upgrading it is difficult because We can't build new ones. They did a study. Congress actually commissioned a study to see can we restart the line, but the process to build them, the manpower, the corporate knowledge has since all been dissolved, and so it would just be it'd be cost prohibitive to. So that's why we have to buy the EX, right? We have to cover gaps in the frontline fighter numbers left by not procuring enough Raptors. And so, so with the Raptor not being in production anymore, and with how complex it is and how revolutionary it was when it first came out, it's a difficult jet to upgrade and maintain. And so I'm very happy that it's still getting money allocated to it to upgrade it. And so I still think with the planned upgrades, it's going to be relevant and lethal for the next decade to come, especially as the NGAD keeps getting slipped to the right. So we need the Raptor. We need it to stick around. We can't buy enough EXs to cover the gap. So I am not shocked at all that its service life continues to be extended, and rightly so.
What about the early? Because they've already started the retirement talks, because like the Tyndall jets, the B course jets are all like the early block. And is there any ability to upgrade? Is it because there's no tooling that they can't upgrade the really old ones, so that
they can? They can upgrade the Block 20s to the Block 30s. It's just I forgot the number, but it's really expensive. Probably. It's probably about the cost of. I want to say it was close to the cost of an F-35. It's very expensive because from the Block 20 to the Block 30, there's a lot of hardware I'm sorry.
Yeah. Upgrade the Raptor. Keep the F-35.
Yeah, I know. I'm all for that argument. Yeah. So it's just a lot of hardware and software upgrades between the Block 20 and the Block 30, and I think the Block 35 now, and so. They just decided the juice isn't worth the squeeze to upgrade all of them. They might one day decide that, we should do this because it is worth that cost to make all the Raptors relevant. Because the argument is the Block 20 and the Block 30 and above have enough differences that a B courser who graduates from the Block 20, there's a steep learning curve. But it's happening nowadays. So the B coursers are converting from the Block 20 and the Block 30. And it's being done successfully. I went from the Block 20 to the Block 30, and there's new software and new hardware, new things. The screens are a little bit different. Interface, you have to learn some new things. So it is a steep learning curve, but to retire the Block 20 fleet would, in my opinion, be a bad move, because then where are you going to get the training fleet from? Now you got to pull from the front line, which we're already critically short of Block 30 and above Raptors. It's not a good move. I'm glad that the Armed Services Committee and other government agencies are saying, no, we should reevaluate this decision.
Are they high hours too? Like, what's the hour? I mean, you weren't flying much because,
right.
In the Viper community, we were talking service life extensions at 8,000 hours to get them to 10, like it started at 4, went to 6, went to 8 and stuff like that. Have there been issues with these jets having too many hours on them as well, like airframe wise? Or
not necessarily issues, but there was concern that the mission sets that it was being used on, like our DCA mission sets in OIR, did we, for what was anticipated out there, did we need a 5th gen asset, or could that have just been covered adequately by a 4th gen and we could have saved the hours on the airframe? Other missions stateside that it's been pulled into, questions have gone out like, we can do this with 4th gen assets. Why are we burning precious airframe hours on a very limited fleet? And I think those arguments have largely won over in many respects, and they are doing a better job of protecting the airframe life of the ones that are still left.
Yeah, no, awesome. On the same topic, Colin asks, is not having a JHMX or a joint helmet mounting queuing system in the F-22 a huge handicap? Did using it on the Typhoon make you wish the Raptor has one now?
Great question. I would say it is a limiting factor, a lim fac, in that we can't go into classified stuff, but if you have JHMX, you have you can expand upon the use of the AIM-9X and its capabilities with just solely radar cueing. You're a little bit more limited, and so I do wish Raptor had JHEMIX. They have been looking at alternatives and solutions for a while, and I think at some point Raptor's going to get a helmet. It just has been a low priority on the funding, because if you think about it, what's the whole philosophy? The idea is the Raptor gets first look, first shot, first kill. That's the mantra, and so it's not supposed to go to emerge. But as we can see with ROE that's out there, and certain demands that we get into a visual arena, in many instances, we probably are going to need to have all the capabilities that we can with JHEMIX, full capabilities of the 9X. So that is my argument for spending the money to put a helmet in the Raptor. I did have the JHEMIX equivalent on the Typhoon. It was awesome, and it reinforced my belief that the Raptor should have a helmet.